What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos by hitting that notification bell by a subscribe button as well. If you guys like to donate to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, you can go to our Cash App, which is $ BJ Matthews. You know what I'm saying? PayPal at Project Masters as well. Right there on the ticker, as you guys can see. If you want to show your love to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Also, we have our super stickers and super comments available. If you guys have anything that y'all want to say, and want to give y'all love that way as well, y'all can do so by hitting that little dollar symbol where it says thanks underneath the video. And we have announced that we have just had our memberships launched, where you guys are now able to have access to memberships of 3 different tiers and also many great perks and benefits going for our subscribers and our audience, man. So we hope that you guys enjoy those, and we'll go more into detail on Sunday when me and Rick are on the show together. But let's get it popping. All right, man. So here we are again with another video. We're going to be talking about NBA free agency now, since we are in the off season. Free agents and some of the primetime free agents and where you think that we should see them go and things of that nature. And one player that we definitely got to talk about that's been on the trade market, it was been on the trade market for quite some time, even dating since last season, is this guy right here, Mr. Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is on per game. He's been with the Washington Wizards all his career. And, I'm saying a prime 3-point shooter. I think he leads the Wizards in NBA history, franchise history, with made 3-point shots. A silky three-tier scorer who can shoot from the mid-range, who can shoot the three, also get to the basket. I believe 2 seasons ago, he led the NBA in scoring. Now, of course, that's on a bad team, but Bradley Beal is one of those players, man, who's just silky smooth. You can say he's about a top 20, top 25 player in the league. Now, people don't get a chance to really see him much because Washington, for whatever, reason, they're just not a great team. And, also Bradley Beal, is injury prone, especially over the last 2-3 seasons. So people haven't got a chance to really see him much. But when they get a chance to see him on the national stage, and he definitely shows out. But let's get into it, man. Bradley Beal has been on the trade market since last season. The Washington Wizards, according to Shams Karina, I'm saying he announced back on Tuesday or Wednesday, he said that the Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal will work together to find a trade for the 3-time All-Star if the team elects to reset the roster in the near future, league sources tell me, and Joshua B. Robbins. Okay, so Shams Karina, y'all already know, is one of the top NBA insiders with Adrian Wojnarowski and Chris Haynes. He drops a lot of news, during the season and the off season. So, he's one of them type of people, man, that you go to if you want to get some information, man. I'm not the hugest Shams fan. I think, Shams, him working for Clutch Sports with LeBron and Rich Paul, he, definitely is going to be biased to, make them look good. But I mean, as far as him dropping news, he's one of the top 3 with Chris Haynes and Adrian Wojnarowski, no doubt. But Bradley Beal, man, hey, so he's back on the trade market, and it looks like the Washington Wizards are looking to find a potential suitor. Now, we're going to talk about who the teams that are, talked about as far as, where he can possibly land, and which ones we think are the best fits for him. Now, a very important thing to note before we start about that, Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, right? This is where, I'm saying, the basketball business comes in. What is a no trade clause? So a no trade clause is when a player has the option to have more leverage with his, this decision where he's going to go. Now, usually with a trade, it's up to the team where they want to ship you off at. But when you have a no trade clause and you put it in, it's like a perk or a benefit, right? If you get that no trade clause, then you have the option to go where you want to go, and a team cannot trade you without your consent, right? So to get that no trade clause, you got to be with you got to be in the NBA first for at least 8 seasons, and then you have to do at least 4 years with that team that you're currently on. So basically, a player that's with his team for the duration of his career or a majority of his career. Um, Now it doesn't have to be 8 years all at once. Like LeBron's a good example. If you are on a team for 7 years, like he was, and then he leaves and comes back to Cleveland, he does like 4 more years. He's already in that field of having a no trade clause, right? So Bradley Beal is one of the few players in NBA history have a no trade clause. So it gets really interesting now. You get a chance to ask, okay, where does Bradley Beal want to go? Because that's what it's essentially going to be about. He's on a 5-year, $270 million deal with the Washington Wizards at this point. He signed last season where they were talking about possibly trading him. As y'all can see, this is what Bradley Beal's he has right now. Oh, I'm sorry, 5-year, $251 million. He's a restricted free agent in 2027 when he's 34 years old. Right now he's 29. So as we look at what he's offering, this man's making upward of 46 million, and it's going to continuously go up into the 50 millions, from here on out. Now, this contract does carry out to the new team he goes to. Okay, and that no trade clause carries out as well. So Bradley Beal has a lot of leverage. You know what I'm saying? So if any other team signs it, they're going to be dealing with a big contract on their hands and those stipulations that he has a no trade clause. So they have to, if they choose to trade him again, it has to be a team that he's, he likes to be with, at least until that contract runs out. After the contract runs out, then all bets are off. But we got to look at what Bradley Beal wants. What are the teams what does Bradley Beal want to do? Where does he want to go? So this was an interview just back in last season, right before the trade deadline, or right before July, when we're in the same boat right now. And it talks about where Bradley Beal should be. Now, make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all enter in, man. Hit the share, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff. So this is what he had to say to Taylor Rooks in a question of where he would like to go. He said, "What does Bill?" She said, "What does Bill want?" He said a lot of vague things when he sat down with Taylor Rooks for Bleacher Report, and I quote: "Obviously, I consider my family. What do they want to do? Where do they want to live? What are they comfortable with? And obviously the team. So it's surreal in a lot of ways to be in this position I am in. It's crazy numbers. It is what it is. It's uncontrollable. It's out of my control, but I'm blessed to be here." Now he's talking about of course, the money that's on the table for him. He signed that contract to get that, deal he has now. Again, I don't shy away from that. I take it on with a full front, and I have to do what's best for me. There's a little anxiety because I have to make the decision, and the time is coming down. We're in June now, but it's fun to be in this position. Okay, we're going to stop right there. Now, Bradley Beal, when I read this, was the first thing he says about where does he want to play for. This, again, he's on the trade market. This is last season. He said, obviously, I consider my family. So he looks at, what his family, his wife, his kids, what do they look at as far as, what I'm saying, what's comfortable for them? What do they want to do and where do they want to live? So he just doesn't say, okay, well, it's not about just me. I just want to make sure that I'm good. I'm making sure my family's good. And what they're comfortable with. And then he said, obviously, the team. So look, he's looking at where he wants to play. He wants to win. Bradley Beal made that very clear. He wants to play in a place where he wants to win and, compete for championships. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be in a place where it's a playoff contender. He doesn't want to be at a city or a team that he feel like, is not competing for a title. He says right here, free agent Bradley Beal wants to play where I can feel like I can win. And unfortunately, Washington has not been that place. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say this. They're not going to trade him to a place he doesn't want to play at, and they're not going to trade him to a place where, he's not going to be fully happy at. So let's look at some of the teams that's been talked about Bradley Beal can possibly go, according to, reports and sources. Let's start with the first team. the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, when you guys talk about trades, it has to be good for not just one side, but the other side as well. Now, like we said, Bradley Beal can go wherever he wants to go. So it's kind of in his own hands. He's in a very particular situation because him with that no trade clause. So he has the option to worry about himself and not the team, or he has the option to still put himself first, but still try to give his team that he's leaving, don't let them be in shambles unless they're just looking to rebuild. Now, there's a picture of him, Giannis, and Chris Middleton. Now, this is my thing. If Bill goes to the Bucks, what are the Bucks going to have to offer? First of all, I don't think Chris Middleton will be on the Bucks if Bradley Beal's there because I think he'll be replacing him. You know what I'm saying? Chris Middleton's been injury prone since really last season, and it seemed like he's, dropping worse and worse. So, him being hurt and, him having surgery and him getting a little bit older. And I kind of watch Chris Middleton. He kind of seems he's more on the stiffer side when he plays. You're talking about him probably having a couple more seasons of, really playing at a, mid to, high level. You know what I'm saying? Do you get away Drew Holiday? Drew Holiday talked about him retiring. Brook Lopez, you get rid of him. Like the thing with Milwaukee, they don't really have a lot of young assets. That can really, you know what I'm saying, Washington can be like, oh, well, we'll trade for Bill because we know in the future we'll be good. Because I think really the Wizards are looking for more draft picks and younger pieces. And Milwaukee just don't have that. So I don't really see this trade going through because I just think that Milwaukee doesn't have much to offer, as well as, I don't think Bill will really want to be in Milwaukee. I don't think that would be a suitable place for him. That's neither here nor there. But another team that we were talking about, the Sixers. Now, this is a team that was even talked about last season, right? Him cheating with Embiid and Harden. Now, I found out some stuff in the playoffs about these two, man. So to be quite honest with you, yeah, maybe last year this would have looked good because, it was before like the revelation of what I saw with them in the playoffs this year. Now, of course, last year Harden was terrible in the closeout game in Game 6, but he showed himself in this playoffs. But I'm not talking about Harden. I'm talking about Embiid. I think Joel Embiid. I just think with him, man, I don't know if he's capable of leading the team to a championship. I think he tends to, put blame on a lot of people but himself. He says, things that are, divisive after getting, beat in the playoffs like he did this year, talking about, James Harden, him can't do it alone when, this man, Joel Embiid, had 14 points in a closeout game. He tends to be hurt in the moments when they matter. So I look at Joel Embiid where he's just a person that, yeah, he's a great talent, probably the most talented big in the league, but he doesn't have that leadership quality as far as leading his team to a championship. At least not in the postseason. Now, maybe the regular season, yes, but not the postseason. And I don't think Bradley Beal should, there's other offers. I think that, can make him in a better position to win a championship. Right. So, and him with Harden being older now, you're not getting the best version of James Harden, even though he's still a 20-12 guy. I just don't know. I don't think that Bradley Beal should be going to the Sixers. That's just my opinion. And I don't think I think the Sixers have offers for the Wizards, like giving away some of their younger pieces like Maxey and Tobias Harris. But it's a way. I don't think Beal will excel there. Right. Now, this is an interesting one right here, the Kings. Now, this was just in also with Shams. He said that, the Kings could be a potential suitor. Now, I think they're a young team. They're more on the younger side. Now, of course, again, like I said, they have assets to give to Washington. You give away Kevin Huerter, you might give away, Keegan Murray. You might give away those two pieces to, team up with Fox and DeMontis. But they'll have one problem. They still don't have no defense. They have all the offense in the world. They already had a high power offense as it is, but they don't have no defense. So they'll be fun to watch. But as far as winning a championship and then all those guys being much younger than Bill, like 3-4 years younger, 3, 4, 5 years younger, then I just don't. I think Bill needs to be around guys a little bit more around his age who are ready to win a championship right now. The Knicks. Make sure I hit that like button, man. The Knicks. This was reported by Alan Hand. He said you put him next to Jalen Brunson, you've got the best backcourt in the league. Now, this is an interesting one because I do agree that him and Jalen Brunson would be a tough backcourt because if you kind of look at both of these guys, they're kind of like they kind of resemble each other when it comes to people don't really watch them play. Like Jalen Brunson, man, is one of the best point guards in the league. Right? It's just the fact that he was in Luka's shadow for so long, and he goes to New York and they put him as the fifth seed. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and they took the Miami Heat to 6 games. The Knicks are going to be a problem, what I'm saying, if they get more pieces. But and that's another thing too. You got to look at the contracts of the people. Do they match? Do they have players on the Knicks that can match, what I'm saying, Bradley Beal's contract? This could possibly be a good option. For a championship, though, I don't think it's for a chat. I think there's just better options for Beal out there. Remember, we got to focus on what's best for Beal because he wants to win. That's his main thing. He wants to win. He wants to be in a place where his family's comfortable, right? So it's really no different from the Milwaukee situation, right? Let's do 2 more teams, man. Now these are the two. This is the 2 teams that are talked about that people are really looking at, and this is one, the Boston Celtics, right? Now, I read somewhere where the Celtics aren't totally pushing for Beal, but it's still on the table, and the reason why it's on the table because the Boston Celtics have to get over this hump of them not win this championship. They went to the finals last year with Ime Udoka as their coach. And then this year, they get beat in the conference finals. They've been to the conference finals. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, I think they've been to the conference finals 4 times, and they've been to the finals once. So they have had a lot of success going in the postseason. Now, Jaylen Brown has been talked about, being traded as well. So that's potentially an option for a head-up trade. Jaylen Brown for Bradley Beal. Now, what do we know about, Bradley Beal? In this situation, that, him and Jason Tatum are childhood friends. They both grew up in St. Louis. But they both been, big counter pieces, for each other. They've been big support systems for each other. So I think, for Beal, he would love to be with Jason Tatum. I think him also being with Jason Tatum would be more of a fit rather than him and Jaylen Brown because just of the chemistry that they have. And I think that, the Celtics have, more of that championship DNA where, Beal can possibly, excel at. If you trade him to Boston, then you definitely have, you got guys like Smart, maybe Al Horford you can trade, but he's a little bit older now, so I don't know how Washington would feel about that. But I think, for Beal, this would be a great move for him personally, because I think it'll put him in the best position to win a championship. Because of Boston, how they have players more around his age, and they have players that are more championship ready to win. So I think it would be a great fit for him. Now, this is the last team that people are looking at. That's the Miami Heat. Now, the Heat have had a couple people, and I'm going to talk about the other player as well, who they're talking about trading for, and that's Damian Lillard. The Heat have mentioned Bradley Beal, over the course of the last couple seasons, to play with, with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Now, we do know the Heat, one thing they're missing is a big man, and they're missing somebody that can, take the pressure off of Jimmy when it comes to scoring. Now, like I said, Bradley Beal just led the league in scoring 2 seasons ago. So he's able to give that aspect to the Miami Heat, no doubt. Now, with the Heat, you have to remember they're the type of organization you have to be a certain way. You have to be molded a certain way. You have to come in. You have to be able to, take the conditioning test. You have to be ready to, get in shape. You have to be ready for that to play team ball. They live by that system. Can Bradley Beal, put his scoring ways aside for the betterment of the team? Right? I believe he can. I think Bradley Beal's the type of person, man. He's a guy who's a hard worker, and I believe he's a guy that, is no nonsense. So I think he'll do whatever it takes to get himself ready for the NBA season. I think it will help him with his injury as well. Because remember, like I just said, he's been injury prone over the last couple of seasons. And I think him being with a championship team with Miami could push him. And I think him, Jimmy, and Bam would click very well. So if you ask me, this is probably the best place for him. Him or this or Boston. I think it'll be the best. It make the most sense for both teams. You can trade away Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and possibly a draft pick or two to get Beal. That way, it works for both sides. So I wouldn't really be upset about this trade either. So those are my those are my 5 teams right there, man. I think Beal in Miami or Beal in Boston would be the best deal for him. And it's going to be a great summer, man, with a lot of, different things going on. But we'll be back on Saturday night or Saturday morning, man, for a great topic, man. And we're going to be there with y'all again. So respectfully say, pull up a seat,